Hi everyone, Mechanics of Materials, Chapter 10, Strain Transformation. In this example, we have a solid cylindrical sample with height and diameter d, handles two axial force from the bottom and the top by the amount of P, and it's already embedded inside a bigger cylinder itself, the transparent one. So if the lateral movement is prohibited, so we cannot move in the x and y direction, this is y and this is x, the only movement is up or down. So we want to calculate the change in the length of cylinder, which is the decrease in the length, because that's a compressive force. So delta L is equal to delta Z in our case, and that's equal to length times epsilon Z. And because L is equal to D, means we call L like height of the our cylinder, and delta L is equal to D epsilon Z. In that case, and we do know, because the lateral movement is prohibited, epsilon x is equal to epsilon y, and both of them are zero. And sigma z is simply a compressive force of P over the area. That's the stress in Z direction. So if sigma Z is negative P over A, if we jump to equation of epsilon Z in 3 dimension, that's 1 over E times sigma Z minus nu times the two other stresses in planar situation. So at the same time, we do know epsilon x equal to 0, because it cannot move in x direction or in x direction, because it's already embedded there. So in that sense, and because due to symmetry of x and y for cylindrical shape, and if you consider that in mind, epsilon x would be, you can replace sigma y by sigma x in the equation. And if you do so and make it a bit cleaner, sigma x minus nu times sigma x minus nu uh, time, uh, times negative p over a is equal to 0. This part, 1 over e, cannot be 0, so this part should be 0. And if you just factor out 1 minus e from this equation, sigma x times 1 minus nu plus a nu times p over the area is equal to 0. So if you calculate sigma x base of this equation, it's very simple. Nu over 1 minus nu times p over a is the relation of sigma x. And for epsilon z, we already know that's equal to 1 over e times sigma x minus nu times sigma x plus sigma y in parentheses, and sigma x we just calculated to be like this. So if we simply replace sigma z by this value, negative p over the area, and add these two together because they are identical to sigma x, for example, it just says, for it just move to negative minus nu negative 2 nu over 1 minus nu times times p over a. And if you do so, it just gives you this equation. If you take out the negative PA out of the integration, because that's constant, and that's 1, this negative just goes below the plus the negative 2 nu squared over 1 minus e. That's epsilon z. And if you make it a bit cleaner, it just gives you this equation. And if epsilon z is equal to negative p over ea times 1 minus nu minus 2 nu squared over 1 minus nu, and the area is pi r squared, or a quarter of pi d squared. In that case, delta L is d times epsilon z. Delta L is length d epsilon z, and delta L is a negative 4p over pi d squared e times 1 minus nu minus 2 nu squared over 1 minus nu times the diameter itself. If you cancel out these two with each other, just says delta L change in length is a negative 4p over pi de times 1 minus nu minus 2 nu squared over 1 minus nu. And the negative sign here says there is definitely a decrease in the length of our cylinder. If it was a pull out part, it was positive, and that's a decrease in the size. Thank you. We'll solve more problems.